Hey guys, welcome back to Inspiring Greatness. I'm Will. As usual, special guest, actually somebody I've worked with for about 7 years now, worked very closely with. This is Dennis Short, head women's lacrosse coach at Rollins College. Prior to that, he was at University of Albany as the program's first lacrosse coach there, and prior to that at Ohio State. Also mentioned he's the first women's lacrosse coach at Rollins College as well, started the program there. So thank you for being here. Welcome to Inspiring Greatness. We've had some pretty awesome people, coaches, other people in the sports field on. So welcome. I have Dennis on today really because I've had such an awesome relationship with his program over the last 7 years. We work so close together, and one of the things I'm going to have him talk about today is why he invests so much in this strength and conditioning program. He really makes it part of his lacrosse program, even so much to where he's really given me free range over the years and said, this is your time of year, take our team, you do what you need to do to get them ready, and just kind of put everything he had in our hands to run the program. So if you'll kind of take it away and talk a little bit about why it's been so important for you and kind of the success that we've had with it.
Sure, absolutely. When I start thinking about what I'm going to do with my program, I build things with a pyramid in mind. So when I'm thinking about my entire year and everything we want to accomplish, I have different levels of that pyramid, and our athletic conditioning / training / development, that's the foundation. It doesn't matter what offense, defense, I want to put in, if we aren't developing our athletes, it doesn't really matter. There's no magic play that's going to help us win a game. It's how our kids perform on the field. So that's always been something that I kind of made sure, if we aren't putting the time we need into that athletic development, it doesn't matter how much time I spend on the lacrosse X's and O's. One of the other things I've really kind of learned over the years is really trying to make sure that what we're doing with the athletic development side, this is where Will has been amazing, transfers to our lacrosse practices. So I spend a lot of time going to the sessions Will is running, trying to pick up some of the cue words he's using from the athletic development side. So I'm bringing those cue words from the training he's doing to the practice field. And those are things that I think when you think about master coaches, they don't spend a lot of time talking on the field. They use phrases, not paragraphs. And taking and continuing to reinforce what he's doing in, when he's got the team, to also using those same cue words, helps simplify it for athletes and make the connection from all that time we spend training to the lacrosse field. And I think that's one of the things our Rollins program has been so successful in doing. Our kids have really bought into everything we're doing with Will is stuff that they know is going to help them be better on the lacrosse field.
Yeah, it's of all the teams we worked with over all the years, we've really gotten a buy-in from your team, and we can say that in the first couple of years of starting that program, we didn't necessarily have that, and there was some culture changing that had to go on there, but his teams come ready to work, and I've said over the years that the teams are always a reflection of their coaches, and this team comes and there's one objective on their mind. They're there to work hard, and they're there to win a championship. And talking about the success that we've had with this program, we've been to the Final Four the last 2 years now, and I think we can plan on being back there in some capacity this year. But it's really a credit to how much you make it part of your program to get these kids to buy in. Because without that, I mean, we have teams that come and they know it's important, but because you put so much stress and focus and emphasis on your teams working hard, training hard, they come in and day out ready to train. And that's probably the same reflection of practice as well.
Absolutely, and again, like anything, it starts from the top with the coach. I'm just smart enough to know to hire good people and get out of the way and let them do things, and then smart enough to realize that my kids have to know it's important for me. If they don't see, we do some 7 a.m.s. I don't necessarily need to be there at 7 a.m. I trust Will, but I'm there at 7 a.m. so my kids know I'm there because I believe it's important. And I think it's those little things as a coach that you do that help create that buy-in in your programs. The same things transferred over on the field. We don't worry about getting too complex if we haven't mastered the simple. And it actually, you know, it's almost harder to, as a coach, make things simple and really break things down. So we invest a lot of time in, and again, keeping it simple. And again, that's why I think it's so important as a coach that I am, you know, Will has control over what we're doing with the conditioning program and the training and the athletic development. But again, for me being there and trying to transfer that to the lacrosse field and carry over those same, you know, terms and cue words, you know, makes it easier for our kids.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think that's probably one of our special relationships as well that I was going to touch on was, you know, Dennis talked about being, he's at just about every session and he never says a word. You don't even know he's there half the time, which, you know, we sometimes argue or debate whether or not we want coaches in these training sessions or in our you know, our conditioning sessions, and a lot of times we'll say no because they're a distraction to the athletes, but Dennis kind of hides in the corner, you don't know he's there, and he takes what we've done that day and he alters his practice, or he tells us what they're doing in practice and we alter our conditioning days or our weightlifting days or whatever the case may be. So that communication and that relationship has probably been one of the stronger points of what continues to enhance his teams, is just how hands-off he is in a quiet, hands-off type of way. I mean, he really understands what's happening day to day in there with those kids, and that's probably what really helps us gel and not overtrain our kids and make sure they're ready for what we need them to be ready for. Next thing I kind of wanted to move into is talking to high school athletes who are getting ready for college or aspirations to go and play in college. And if you could talk a little bit about what a freshman looks like coming in who's prepared versus a freshman coming in who's not prepared. And the biggest difference is, because I think one of the takeaways that somebody can take from this today, even a high school coach or a club coach, is to help these kids be prepared for what the demands are in college, because spring is brutal,
right,
and they don't necessarily expect that.
I'm just glad we're not a fall sport because I feel really bad for fall sport athletes. Freshmen coming in have to try to come in and compete right away. You know, sometimes it doesn't always even look like there's a big difference between, you know, a senior and a freshman when you physically look at them standing next to each other. But I think the number one thing that the freshmen really struggle with, you know, aside from, you know, we expect our upperclassmen to be, you know, faster and stronger and all that, but just their bodies physically prepared to handle the rigor of an entire year. A lot of these kids, you know, a lot of the kids we recruit are multiple sport athletes, so while they are training year-round, they're engaged in different activities. They're not just doing lacrosse, you know, for 12 months out of the year. You know, I think that's a big difference. I think the durability of our upperclassmen compared to some of our freshmen is an enormous thing that our incoming kids just aren't prepared for, more than almost anything else. Certainly a lot of our kids, we get we get some kids that have dabbled in athletic development and strength conditioning, and then we get some kids that have done, you know, and been pretty well prepared, but we haven't had a freshman yet come in to our program with Will that has been 100% prepared. Like, it's just the intensity of it. And I tell all my recruits ahead of time, you know, before they step foot on campus, no matter what you do, you're not totally going to be prepared. And they kind of shake their head and laugh, and yeah, I'm not kidding. The first week hits and they realize, yeah, they were not prepared. So investing that, I mean, really getting somebody and hiring somebody, you know, like an SSP that knows what they're doing, trains college teams, you know, there's a big difference. I mean, it's just like coaching. There's a lot of people that coach, and then there are professionals. And you want to find a professional that really understands what the dynamics of a collegiate athletic environment actually are.
Yeah, I mean, when freshmen come in to, you know, that first week of school, and, you know, we're going 4 days a week strength conditioning, they've got classes, you'll start your practices pretty quick after that. That load, or just having that work capacity to handle everything that's encompassed when you enter as a freshman is such a big deal. And that's where I think a message to send out there is just make sure that summer before you are training for your your fall off season, because it's time to work at a lot of programs. And if you're going to go to a successful one, they're going to be doing work in the fall. So make sure you prepare for that. And coaches at the high school and club levels, make sure you encourage your kids to do that. So as usual, takeaways. Sports performance companies, strength and conditioning coaches out there, seek out your local college, seek out your local club lacrosse scene, club lacrosse coaches, high school lacrosse coaches. Seek this service out. Make it a major part of your program. It can change your program and take it to the next level. I think Dennis is a very recognized name in this sport, and great to have him on here today. I think he speaks across the board to coaches around the country, and I think a lot of people want to listen to what he has to say because he's got value and merit behind his name and his program. So again, thanks for being on here today. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.